All right, I'm gonna try and get this in one take because I don't know how to edit video. This is my 1990 FXRS, the 113 motor swap. Mind my kids, they're playing while I do this. So this is a Krator fairing. A lot of people are familiar with it. Very inexpensive fairing, but it's actually pretty nice compared to some of the other ones. But for 99 bucks, I mean, you can't beat it. So let me tell you what I did. So I bought the fairing. I mocked it up on my bike, this is stock paint from 1990. So I mocked up the fairing, and I got a good idea of what it took to mount it. So kind of foolish on me, I rushed it off to paint. So paid a good amount to get the fairing matched and the side covers matched to the original paint. And then when I got the fairing back, we realized that it was pretty difficult to install, being that there weren't no instructions. So I figured we're gonna have to do some modifications to it. So figured out what I wanted to do, and then I had to get my father-in-law involved because it was a little more than what I was capable of doing. So start off with, first thing I invested in is Krator actually sells these clamps actually on Amazon. These are 39mm, sold by Krator, same company that makes the fairing. And these are actually 12 bucks, and they come powder coated. So they come with these 12mm bolts. To make your life easier, I would strongly recommend going to Home Depot and just buying a set of 16mm, a little longer, and make your life 10 times easier. And that's what I did. So first thing I did to install this thing was I drilled a 5/16 hole right here, and I relocated these clamps. These don't come with the kit, so I added it to make my life easier. Put it on, and then I mounted the fairing on just with these clamps. One of my buddies told me that that's probably not going to be strong enough in the wind, especially when you're going over 100 miles an hour. So I had to come with phase 2. So most of you guys, the hardest part is mounting the bracket and getting your headlight aligned. So let me tell you what I did. So it's sitting on there pretty good now. So what I did was, after I mounted the fairing with the pipe clamps, with the 39mm clamps, excuse me, what I did was I unbolted my FXR, which in my case, I have a eyebrow headlight, which makes it even more difficult. And obviously I didn't want to put a new headlight because I like this headlight. So what I did was I unbolted the eyebrow headlight and I mocked it up. So once this fairing was mounted with the clamps, I mocked up the headlight to fit perfectly into the bezel of the T-Sport fairing. And what I did was I took a measurement. So I measured a bracket. So this was, I believe, 3 inches, or about 2 1/4 inches distance. So I figured I had to make some sort of bracket. So I initially made a bracket out of Simpson strong tie just to connect this, to relocate it, so it fit perfect. But then again, I was posed with the issue of not being secure enough. So this might look familiar, this bracket here. This is what actually came with the kit. So what we did was we actually, well, my father-in-law, when he got involved, we split the bracket into 2. So this is actually the original bracket, but we cut it. So what we did was we cut it. We drilled new 5/16 hole locations here, and then we measured 2 new holes. So I used my original bracket, 2 5/16. So now this acts as a relocation kit for my headlight, and it actually adds support here to the side so this fairing doesn't come flying off. Same thing if you want to see a shot. 5/16 hole we drilled onto the side. This is the original bracket that we cut and divided. This steel is actually pretty strong, and you can see that now that the headlight is relocated. The headlight used to rest back here. With the fairing on, the headlight was way sunken back and it looked stupid. So obviously you want the right look. So by doing it like that, it looks pretty, I think it looks pretty good. So I mean, that's just another way of doing it. It's not the cleanest look, but I think it looks pretty clean. I'm pretty stoked with it. especially when I was thinking I had to maybe buy a new fairing, a new paint job. I didn't want to go that route because I already spent a lot of money on paint. And my father-in-law, I got to give him the credit. He actually came up with the idea of using the original bracket and splitting it. So here's another shot. This is just to help people out. If it helps you out, cool. If it doesn't and you think it looks like shit, just keep your comments to yourself. But if this helps anybody out, that's the idea I used and it worked pretty good. Again, these are $12 on Amazon. They're actually made by Krator and they actually look pretty good for 12 bucks. You go to Harley, you can only buy 4 and they're $75. So I doubt you want to do that. Total time, me and my father-in-law scratching our heads back and forth to the hardware store. Probably 2 hours install. But I'm not the most handy person and we figured it out. So let me know what you think.